All right, I did a video for April Fools that was the the recent funeral of Flames of War, and I meant that as a joke. It really was, guys. But the funny thing is that I really wish this video wasn't a joke because we got the news. The news was supposed to come sometime last year who the new owner of this one game company was. And this is the newest, youngest game that I have, and it died too early. It's one of the better ones out there, but it, what can I say? A long time ago, back in 2009, people were talking about a game that they've been producing like in their clubs for like the last 3 or 4 years or so. But I finally saw it. I was wandering by some game store, and I saw two things. I saw this guy kicking around the. Notice how he's got his foot like aggressively in the air. That thing there is his rifle. You have to attach it normally. But I saw this guy. I was like, that's the freaking coolest thing. And then I also saw this guy, and this is my paint job. It's not the official paint job, so my apologies if it looks weird. I also haven't finished yet. This guy needs highlighting. He really does. But this just looked really freaking cool. He's got like he's a science fiction warrior. He's got like his old school Vickers machine gun just rolling out. And I thought that was the sweetest thing. It's like, what game is this? And they're like, well, this is this new game that's coming out, and it's all about the cards. And I was like, I'm not really a cards guy, but this game was released in like 2010, early 2010. If you were around 2009, you got to see like the Gen Con releases and a few other custom things. This is MERCS, which is what I understand it stands for Military and Economic Reconnaissance Counter Security. This is a kind of a Brave New World style game where it takes place in our future. And the world has essentially gone corporate social media crazy. It's like a lot of things it's pretty much our world. But the thing is that a lot of the military operations have been canceled across the world, and everything is either local security forces, or it's special operations. So the Mercs are hired by the corporations, and they're often specific to the corporations that run them. And they're not just corporations, they're mega conglomerates. So you hear the term Megacon being used in this game. But anyway, the game itself is a sci-fi tactical war game. It has some really great ideas. Yeah, the cards are everything in this game. You move by card lengths. The range is determined by lengths of card. You can take multiple cards. And you're like, this is something that's, a range of 2, for example. That's how it works. So let me just say that it is an interesting game in that you don't have point values. You just grab your squad. When this game first came out, I believe, or at least in like Gen Con version, I'm not straight on which one it was, but it was just you grab 4 guys and that was your squad. I believe they came in packs of 5. When I first got into the game, I bought the Soviet pack, and the Soviet pack had 5 guys in it. And I painted them all up in ridiculous Soviet colors. You'll see that I actually sold that squad because no one was playing the game. I got into it. I had a few demo games that, I ran here and there, but I sold things because no one was playing it. Which the funny thing is that it's a good game. It's weird that people didn't play it because the mechanics are sound. There's like 1 or 2 things that I can complain about, and that's it. But for the most part, MERCS had this thing where you just pick what squad numbers you need to take. This game came out in 2010. Didn't really play it. Loved it. I had a fully painted force of Russians. They were ridiculous color too. Like they were like Soviet propaganda red. If you're the guy out there who plays MERCS and you have my old Soviet things, count yourself lucky because I put some time into those boys and I love doing it. Now, I have a Soviets also right now because I did play when it came out. You see, back in like 2014 and 15, they ran Kickstarters for this game called Recon that was based on MERCS. And with the money from that, the game company that made MERCS decided to make MERCS 2nd Edition. I have played this game. I love it. It's got good mechanics. It's solid. It's better than the original, which I kind of like playing with the original rules. I'm not an edition whore where it's like, I must play the most recent edition, I'm going to die. No, I can pick up the first edition of a game. I have played 0 edition, well, not white box. I've played like, the red and blue box Dungeons and Dragons in the time frame in which people were playing like, 3.0. So turn of the millennia. I have never played, though, first edition Mercs. I've played first edition a lot of games, but I have not played, I've only played second edition, which this came out in 2016. This is like the most sparkly version of the rules. And it's also good. The number of models available for each corporation is up to 10. So when you pick your 5 guys, you're going to pick them out of, 10 possible candidates. And so your choices really are solid from the get-go. And like I said, there's no point value. You just pick the guys. There is a corporation out there that has a special ability where you get to pick 6 instead of 5. And when you pick those guys, you'll notice that some of them are stronger than others. Like they overall are weaker. So, and it's one of those weird things where some of the newer corporations they have in this book do have gimmicks you have to follow. I'm going to go ahead. It's funny because I'm going to pull this aside. Even from the get-go, there's kind of some weird things going on in the game universe. Like there's a lot of, it's a full-color book. The first part, really enough, is black and white because they're covering fiction, but most of it is in full color. This is, let me show you let me go over here. Yeah. This is the model that got me into the game. This and the other guy, the kicker. The Breacher, I think he's called. No, he was I'll get to it in a bit. His name's going to be up here. The heavy assault guy. For there's no America. The East Coast is controlled by the central corporate conglomerate, the CCC, and the Yellow Jackets are their team. I don't paint them yellow. In fact, my guys are going to be kind of like a dull gray, very tactical color. I love this model, and it's funny because each guy in the force. Because it's funny. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, in the original edition of the rules, you only had 5 guys. It was kind of a big deal when they released number 6. So it's weird. You can find metal models for 1 through 5, and then a 6th guy. And then everything else is plastic. The plastics are actually pretty cool. I'm not going to say they're better. They're not. But they're cool in that the detail catches up. And the way I run it, honestly, I mean, I like the fact that for less money you can get all 10 guys that you need to run your faction. I did a weird thing with my my play of the rules. I didn't assemble all 10 guys. I knew there were guys I was never going to use, and so I just didn't ever assemble them, and they're not in my force. All of my Mercs forces are 5 guys or 5 to 9 guys. I don't have any forces that have all 10. It's just a thing I did. I just decided I'm never going to use these guys, so I threw them out. So this is the original factions were, they had the CCC, which is East Coast America. You have the Chemvar. It's weird. They are the weirdest guys. They're Brazilians, right? But they're like, they have this worm thing that they fetish about, and this worm does weird crap. That worm makes no sense to me either. It's an armor-piercing worm. The fuck? I have no clue how that happens. Weirdest thing. I have no other way to say it, dude. It makes no sense to me how modern tactical armor can get pierced by a crazy worm on drugs. I mean, it would make sense if it slid around for a bit and tried to find soft spots. That'd be great, but it's supposed to go straight through the armor, which is not cool. It's like whatever. But then again, I didn't play Chemvar. I kind of ignored them. I think no one's ever played Chemvar in a game I've played. They're the Brazilians. And you have the USCR, which is technically the Russian guys. They're more like Siberian post-Caucasus Russians. They aren't they don't have the Belarus or Ukraine or Lithuania under their belts. They don't. This is pretty much old Russia, Siberia, a few stands. They have some interesting concepts. Love that image. There is one of the things they often try to push when it comes to the Russian guys. the USCR have this behemoth. I bought 2 of them, and I converted it to be the metal version of the new heavy they made in plastic. The USCR has a commissar leading it. Gee, that's not Soviet at all. They have, it's kind of funny, their sniper actually had a dart gun. That's not very Soviet. I mean, the Americans technically have the biggest sniper rifles in the world, but the Soviets have always been known for consistently having reliable kill snipers. Here's the behemoth and all of its behemouthness. It has a special ability that gives it extra speed, because without that special ability, it would not be able to move. And that's another thing about this game. They gave things special abilities. You can tell they put point values into the game behind the scenes. And so, yeah, the behemoth has a weird thing where its special ability slot helps it move faster, so it can actually get its butt down the road. There is a last faction. I didn't have any interest when they came out, but they're one of the ones I play now. They're pretty much one of my main factions. FCC is a term they don't use for themselves. They call themselves like the houses, but that's free from corporate control, FCC. And the FCC are pretty much renegades. They have the oldest school equipment. They have the most, they're pretty much guys who run around in the cities trying to do ambushes and various, BS level ops on the corporate opponents. Some may call them terrorists. Honestly, a lot of people, it doesn't matter which side you're on in this game. You might be performing terrorist acts. So these guys are just joining the club, really. And this is funny. He's called a boomer. He's the youngest guy in the squad. He's called a boomer. I think that's hilarious. Anyway, the one special ability that FCC have is they can convince members of other corporations to go out and join them eventually. They do that through the liaison guys. I have a plastic liaison that I use with my 2nd edition FCC, and I have him assembled. I have him modified even. I customized the guy. And I've never painted him because I've never gotten other guys to fill the slot. Sadness, right? In any case, but yeah, this is the entire book is actually pretty cool. Welcome to the cause. I can tell you the way these guys set up their game, their entire game plan for making Mercs was to make a small, no heavy commitment game that emphasize that you play with tactics over picking the correct faction. And I've noticed that. We've had games in 2nd edition where, for the most part, your decisions make the game for you. Now, there are some I've played with the behemoth or with the heavy for the Russians, the USCR, and it hasn't made a difference. They die or they do their job depending on how I use them. And in the one job, I actually used them as I used him as a bluff out. I threw it on the table just because, and the other guy was playing was like, what is this guy doing here? And it was just to throw him off for a bit. But anyway, 2nd edition has the same thing going for it the 1st edition book has, except for it's brightly color on the inside. Full color. It even has the splats. This is for the EIC. They're the Hindu/Indian corporation. The EU Incorporated is what it sounds like, although France, weirdly enough, and Italy are not part of the EU in this setting. They have their own little sub-faction. You recognize these guys. There's the boomer again. Still young. This guy. When he came out in plastic, my one friend said that I should stop using him because he's good. I'm like, no, he just fits my tactics. Technically, he's got a short-range weapon, and he's kind of on the dumb side. You have to use him like a certain way, otherwise he doesn't work. They introduced a bunch of different stuff in the new one. The GCC is the Global Corporate Courts, and so if you have these purple and gray guys, technically they are the court masters, and so they've been introduced. I might as well cover a few things with Mercs instead of just saying, hey, look what happens in 2nd edition. These are the guys that France and Italy are part of. France, Italy, and Greece are part of this thing called the ISS, which is funny because it looks like ISIS, but ISIS is closer to being like a FCC faction in this game, one of the houses. When they made 1st edition, they did create 2 other factions in metal before they created the 2nd edition. One of them is Keizai Waza, which, now I'll be honest, there is some weird stereotypes in this game. The Japanese guys, for some damned reason, use nukes. It makes zero sense. Like, Japan had to have changed completely like a different government and culture altogether to have that even be a thing. And yeah, here it is, nuclear rocket pack. It's a tactical nuke, is what they call it. A very small nuclear weapon. Honestly speaking, I kind of wanted to get these guys and paint them up because I'm a huge fan of Japanese crap, but I never got a chance to. There are metal starter sets for these kicking around somewhere. This game has gotten rare, by the way. If you want to buy Mercs now, I'm sorry. Mercs is pretty much going out of print. A company supposedly owns the right to make them, but they have been dead on the responsiveness for like years. So my apologies. Hopefully this video gets disqualified in the future. I'd love to play more Mercs. Unless the 3rd edition was crap. That happens, you know. There's Kemvar. Kemvar is like the least interesting house, if you ask me. Sefadu. Okay, Sefadu is the other faction they came out with between 2nd and 1st edition. They're African guys. And they have a very weird reliance that everybody carries a melee weapon, but they also carry like a shotgun or short-range grenade launcher or something like that. They're actually pretty cool. I was really thinking about buying these guys and painting them up as like Rhodesian type guys or something, just because I was crazy like that. I said about weird stereotypes. The main leader uses a spear. Now, it's like a carbon fiber titanium alloy spear with like some kind of special... If he decides to throw the spear instead of just stab you with it, it has like a tracking device in it, so when you pull it out and throw it away, the tracking device is still inside of you. So, it's, you know, it has its functions, I guess, but it's weird. I mean, if I was making a game, I'd never make the Africans throw spears. I mean, Africans use AK-47s. Everybody knows that. So, there's and they have a bunch of guys with melee weapons in this faction, and they look cool. I mean, actually, their visual design sits well with me. I kind of like the elongated helmet and the shorts. I think they're just freaking cool. They have like some of the lightest armor of any of the factions in the game. I mean, arms are hanging out, you know. But the thing is that they do have their own coolness and style to them, and a lot of people like playing these guys, from what I've heard. I mean, actually, you know. They introduce a lot of weird, like they have a Texaco faction where, weirdly enough, they have like cowboy type guys, and they have like Aztec like guys. They have an Eagle warrior and a Jaguar warrior in the Texaco faction because it covers an oil-based conglomerate that spans from Texas to Mexico. Texaco. Thanks for winning the game, I guess. You're still around 300 years from now, or something like that. But yeah, overall, this game is, and there's the USCR again. They renamed the monkey wrench to just the wrench. Where's that one guy? There's the behemoth. There's the not sniper. He really needs a Dragunov. I'm going to show you my heavy. My heavy's a cool thing. Where is he? They actually have backup stats for NPCs in this version of the game too, which is really cool. So you can have civilians that are doing, like anyway. The booster, yeah, he was a drug user. See? He comes with drugs because he enjoys hitting things with his rifles and kicking them as opposed to actually using his rifle normally. It reflects in his stats too. He only has like a single shot rifle. In the new version of the game, I've never played with this guy, even though I like the model and I love this guy. I bought a new metal model that I have not assembled. The guy who has my original Soviets has my original paint job for this guy. And I painted like some Russian swear word on the bottom of his boot too. So if he's kicking someone, the first thing he's going to get into his face is some, you know, Russian nasty language. So I like this guy a lot. He helped me play the game. But yeah, so this is MERCS. I'll pull the this random MERCS guy and kind of explain what's going on here, just so you know stat-wise how the game rolls. It's based on cards usually, so forgive me for having the pages here in front of you instead of the cards. But I like books. I'm a books guy instead of a cards guy. People should know that. I do believe that's your initiative modifier. I forgot what that is. My God. I should go look at I don't know. They have a chart in this book that tells you what it is. This is your movements per turn. This is, by the way, your card range, like, you know, base-to-base contact, short range, 1 card, medium range, 2 cards. Long range, thankfully, is 3 cards or longer. Some things specifically say it's only 3 cards. Some things say it's longer than that. Look and make sure. There's this is how much damage you can take, blood drop thing. How much armor you have, and almost everybody in the Soviet faction has 2 or more. This, I believe, is your skill rating. If you're performing certain skill actions, you have to do that. And if you want to fix your armor, it's that. One or the other is that way. But yeah, one weird thing about Mercs, and I'll bring this up because it's one of the few gripes I have with the system. I like Mercs a lot. It's a good game. But one of the gripes I have with the system is everything does, like this is like the strength of the weapon. 1, 2, 3, or 4. There's only 4 strength settings or armor settings in this game. There are armor 0 targets, but you know, whatever. Everything only ever does 1 point of damage. To do more than 1 point of damage is something you have to hit them multiple times. This works great for things like submachine guns and assault rifles. Not so good for sniper rifles and rocket launchers. It's a really bad model for doing damage because half the reason damage works the way it does in a lot of RPGs is because it's based off of war game simulations that happened before RPGs became a thing. You know, certain things damage in a radius. Certain things hit for a lot more damage than others. Although have fun getting a sniper rifle to work on full automatic. Your first shot will work, the rest will go spraying all over God knows where. But yeah, this is a second edition of Mercs. This is also not my book. Today is the day I'm going to be returning this to my friend who decided, I want to get out of games. And what's he going to get back into games with? Mercs. I love this guy. He's a cool friend of mine. So looking at it, I want to show you the one thing I have for this game that I don't have for a lot of my games. I am very prepared to play some Mercs, and I've got minis. So I'm going to put this thing aside for now. I have an order of, okay, so I have some things unassembled. Like the only Mercs mini I don't have assembled is the guy I showed you. So here's the first edition card for the heavy assault guy. And I showed you him earlier. This is the leader of the pack. This is your general leader. He has a grenade launcher pistol he uses, and he's got a med pack on him, so he's actually pretty cool. So there's that guy. I kind of like the way this guy is sculpted. This is a sniper. I like the way he's sculpted, but snipers are technically weak in this game. They fixed that in 2nd edition, so the snipers are actually good in 2nd edition. But here is the sniper guy. And like I said, they're all tactical grade. These guys aren't finished. I really should get off my butt and put the highlight colors on these guys. They look really dull right now. This guy looks really sweet. This is the medic. Yeah, of course, it's American team. They have a full-fledged medic. That's also a good thing of Doctrine. Instead of just letting your guys bleed out, have a medic there, like to fix them up. Medics are like really common in American military forces, and they should be because it shows that you have an emphasis on life, even though your job is to shoot people up. So there's that. Yeah, I got the metal version of this guy. This is one of the rare figures, actually. This is the metal version of like your door banger guy. I think I used him for something else. But like the demo man comes with like this gray cloak. It's kind of, you can't really see it because everything's like a dull color here. It's supposed to be like an urban camo cloak. Look at the demo man's backpack. You can see the demo man's backpack has explosives all over it. It's really cool. So there's my CCC team. I can't say USA because they're the CCC. They're just the Eastern Coast. Yeah, let me show you the original poster for Mercs also looked like this. This is the back of the card, but they have a poster like that kicking around somewhere. And this is the 1st edition cards. So you can tell they have a little slot for you to use with the miniature. It's die cuts. The card is used with the miniature. And there's the one for the heavy dude. What can I say? I said it before. I'll say it again. I like that heavy. He's just a good design. He's very solid. I've threatened it before, but I mean it. I have... Oh, let's talk to that. I have Russians, the USCR officially because they don't represent all of Russia, but hey. And notice my guys aren't Soviet red with no propaganda symbols. Instead, they're what Soviet military actually do and paint everything green. So the Soviet Union, once you actually learn about them, they have a thing. They're not like about juggernauts. They actually do like their big guns, but they are mostly about having lots of guys, and they're about having green. I mean, Soviets and green go back to Napoleonic times, really. This is the Behemoth. I like the Behemoth, but I don't use him too often because tactically he doesn't fit me. I got a 2nd Behemoth, and this is the Heavy. This is a 2nd edition miniature. He's not available in 1st edition. But this is a one-of-a-kind miniature that I sculpted and converted myself out of a behemoth. He is the heavy for my USCR. He's the same T72 green that everything else is in the Force. And this guy was fun to convert.
First thing I did is carve down any kind of weaponry off of the arms and get those double autocannons taken care of. The body actually came like that. Sculpted some round ammo bins. Sculpted into something closer to the heavy and less behemoth-like. That rod assembly is on top of every USCR guy, so I just added it there. Here is the finished conversion.
This is my idea of a Pathfinder. He's a conversion I made too. I used some Team Yankee parts to make his gun better. But here's my my Pathfinder for the USCR. And then the medic has this weird thing. I don't know why, but the medic has this weird thing where his arm's hanging out. But this is my medic. This is the guy that fixes the other Russians when they start bleeding too much. The Commissar. He does not spend lots of time shooting his own men. He spends lots of time shooting other men because real Commissar kills enemy in name of Soviet Union. USCR. Yes, USCR, not Soviet Union. So there's the Commissar. And then I modified this guy. This is actually supposed to be the wrench. I actually do convert. I converted a bunch of metal guys to be things they're not. Like I turned a sniper figure into that Pathfinder I showed you earlier. This is actually the monkey wrench. He's the repair guy, the wrench. Okay. This is I forgot what I did with this guy. He's a metal miniature that I turned into one of the other guys, and I forgot what the heck it is. I think he's the demo man. And I think this miniature is supposed to be for like your basic wait. I recognize that. I sculpted this pad. This is a medic. This is a medic miniature. I turned him into the demo man guy. So I love doing stuff like that. Yeah. Good old, well, as you can see, my USCR force is back and in control. If I ever meet the guy who bought my Soviet-looking guys off of eBay, I would love to play a USCR versus USCR force game and just have the hilarity of having, communist Russia fight, Putin's Russia, I guess. That would be really cool. So these are definitely, these are my USCR guys. And I've talked about the fact I play FCC all the time. I do. Here's my non-painted liaison guy that I'm not ever going to use because you can't go buy individual plastics anymore. Thank you for buying that beautiful website and then taking away that ability from me before I can get around to do it. But this guy is supposed to be the guy that, links up with other cons and allows you to drag him in. I was going to actually go buy a few individual figs that could be this guy's Black Ops buddies, but no, the game site died first. So let me go through what I have here. It's funny because the FCC is a bunch of renegades, and I have the chapters kind of mixed up. One of them is kind of supposed to be Seattle-based, so that's kind of like 4chan with guns. And then you have one that's actually supposed to be the guys out in the Middle East. And I got the colors mixed up. This is actually the Boomer we saw earlier. But you see, he's colored like he's just some punk in Seattle running around with an M72 grenade launcher. So there's the Boomer, being young and vivectic. Here is, oh yeah, that's right, I modified my Housemaster because the gun in plastic was just too janky for me. So what did I do? I sculpted on I got a G36 in like 135 millimeter scale and used that as the gun that the Housemaster uses. So there's the master of the 4chan killer faction. This guy actually is packing an AK-12, even though it's a sci-fi setting. He's got an old AK-12, and he's got a Molotov cocktail. I think this is a Zero Armor figure that they actually think they made him in metal too. But he was one of the FCC promotional miniatures they had back in first edition, and he's just a normal part of the faction of FCC House. Oh my god, I think it's House 9 and House 12 are the two houses we have in the game. But this guy, he's just a saboteur. He throws Molotov cocktails where you don't want him to throw Molotov cocktails. This guy, he looks very operator. So he's probably one of the more, K-oriented 4chaners shooting stuff up for the FCC. This guy, I forgot what role he is. I have 9 out of 10 painted for one of these factions. I forget which one. You're going to find out here really shortly. We will find out really shortly. This guy is also wearing Milsurp, but he's also got his red t-shirt on, so I guess he doesn't give too much of a shit that he had nothing but the red t-shirt left that day. when he got out of bed and had to go fight the CCC in the morning. So there's this boyo. I'm sorry, man, I can't remember what some of these roles are. Like this guy, he's got like, man, I think I literally based this guy off of like G.I. Joe camouflage. There was some old G.I. Joe that I knew about, and I was like, I'm going to paint it like this. Not Firefly, I forget who it is. I don't know my G.I. Joes very well, that's a kid's thing. When I became a man, I put aside childish things. That's right, I traded my action figures for wargaming soldiers. Very manly thing to do. Ask Peter Cushing. This guy is the dreaded, fiend of all games here. This is the shock trooper. For some reason, the guy I play against the most whenever he comes up in games of Mercs against me, he hates this guy. I don't know why. He's just a guy with a submachine gun who runs really fast and uses drugs. So I guess he does have some stuff that makes him really nasty. But, he's just a guy. There's nastier guys out there. Yeah. A survivalist is actually part of the FCC thing. So this guy's a survivalist, and he's kind of fun. He has really crap combat stats, but he's a good support character in the Mercs game. And then, that's right. I actually have the sniper guy. He looks kind of like, get out of here, stalker. But yeah, he should be operating in the zone, but no, he's operating in Seattle, which I guess in this timeline there's no build difference. So this guy's running around, spray painting things and occasionally sniping people with his crappy little sniper rifle. If I remember correctly, his sniper rifle is weaker than everybody else's sniper rifle. His kind of is like an improv sniper rifle. So I've got 9 of those guys. This faction I have 9 of. Better than most I have for this collection. And if I actually got the liaison made up, I'd actually have, I guess, I'd have all 10. So technically that would be the case. But it's not the case. So the other FCC faction, I think this is House 12. I made a mistake here. This is the Steward that leads House 12. And I like House 12. I use them a lot. I should have put a bald guy on there and sculpted him and painted him in such a way that it was Patrick Steward. That would have been cool as all heck. But no, I failed beforehand. This is not the head that comes with the model. I sculpted like extra fur and put... That's pretty much... That's a Reaper miniature. It's some kind of Reaper miniature knight. I cut off his head and put it on this guy. Also, I completely resculpted this guy so he's pointing with his weapon and he's carrying the rifle at ready. If you get the Steward for House 12... I think it's House 12. Where's the cards? The cards are like right over here. House. Come on, guys. Don't you have your logo? No, it's House 4. Call me an idiot. House 4 and House 4 and House 9 are the 2 houses that you can get the miniatures for in the game. But I guess they can work for any other house out there. They're just diversity, I guess. So there's Patrick Stewart, or non-Patrick Stewart. This is more like this guy looks like he's, I don't know. He kind of looks like Jeremiah Johnson, really. So there's that boyo, like leading his men. And I don't use this guy very often, but people love this guy. He's got a very dynamic miniature. This is the priest, El Padre. And this guy just runs around with a pistol and his prayers, and he's like, I will shoot you in the gut with my pistol in the name of God. And so, yeah, he is rebelling against corporate rule with his pistol and his flashlight. He's got a kind of like a trench coat thing going on too. So he's pretty gnarly dude. There's that guy. Let me find another conversion I did, because conversions are half the fun of the plastic part of this game. I didn't like the way the heavy was. He's some fat guy with a weird like all glass helmet. So I literally got some balding old guy's helmet head from Reaper Miniatures and put it on this guy. I think it was like a tavern master or something. So here he is running around with his Gatling, and he's got a really cool special ability compared to other heavy assault guys. When he fires, everybody in his area gets attacked. I mean, he actually gets a benefit for shooting at his own guys, which is weird, but it's one of these. He's an anarchist. What can you say? This guy is not heavily modified, I don't think. He's one of the more basic looking dudes. He looks like he's from Halo or something. Like, I'm an ODST or a Spartan guy. But yeah, this guy, he's got an FNFAL. He's running around being like, yeah, I'm a member of a house, shooting a gun. He's less chaotic than these guys by far. Here's their sniper. Their sniper is actually pretty sweet, if you ask me. The best sniper in the game is probably the CCC one, but he's pretty good. There's another sniper out there that does a knockback. It's got really low damage, but it knocks back. And then there's a sniper out there that doesn't have any reload time. I think that 0 reload time guy is either the guy who has knockback also, or it's the Indian sniper, or it's the anarchist guy down here that looks like Mr. Stalker. So there's those guys. This is the House 12 version the House 4 version of the guy that is so disgusting in House 9. This is the shock trooper, same concept, except for I think this guy's actually the burly mean bastard. He's got heavier armor. His submachine gun has better special abilities behind it. I think this guy just loaded heavier rounds or something, because this guy has more potency than the other guy from the other faction does. This is the actual scary guy. Sorry, I had that mixed up. So there's that. I should have modified this miniature more. This is the engineer. He comes with a fire axe. Thank God, because sometimes you just need to axe something, and he can do that. So, this is actually the most useful model in this entire faction. The medic. You know what this guy does? He tells other people, hey, do you want my initiative value? And the answer is usually, why, yes, because I rolled ass for initiative and you did not. In which case, they trade initiative values, and it's really cool. He's the medic, but honestly speaking, he's also the life-saving tactical core. I usually bring him, I bring the shock rider, and then I throw whoever else I need to. So these guys will be optional. I usually don't take this guy. I usually don't take him. But I'll take these two for sure. And then I'll take 2 or 3 of these guys to even things out. And it's fun times because this guy moves really well. This guy can trade initiative. So if he ever rolls crap for initiative, I'm back. This is MERCS. It's a really fun game. I like it. It plays on a small board, like a 2x3. Like I say, card length ranges. You're looking at like short range being like this, medium range being like this, and long range is like that. So, I mean, technically, like this, what you're seeing here under the camera right now would be half of a board. So what you're seeing right here with like all these guys on the board right now is never something you see in the game. Like my CCC guys, this is what I bring. I don't have options here. I bring these 5 guys whenever I play the game. I have less options, but I have more options than some other factions when I play these guys. I'm missing guys for this faction, but I wanted to. One of them was a spy, and the spy, if you asked me, was kind of just he made no sense. I didn't really like the spy too much. I was going to throw out the priest too, but my one bro's like, come on, don't do that. He's a really cool model. I'm like, you know what? You're right. He is a cool model. So I'll assemble him just so I can never use him. I think I should find I should role play him in like Cyberpunk 2047 or in like Twilight 2000 or some crap like that. I should use him as a role playing figure just for the heck of it. But Starfinder. I don't know anybody who plays really Starfinder. I have friends who play Pathfinder. I might get to use that figure one of these days. I know that I don't like using him in the game. He's just not my kind of guy. So yeah, what can I say? MERCS is a game that's been with me as from when it first came out. I saw it was first being advertised in the store, and its tactics appeal to me because the tactics tend to be the same thing from faction to faction. It's just, how do you use your guys? Yes, there is. I mean, this guy is not used the same way that the shock soldier I showed you is used. Definitely not. But I mean, honestly speaking, in a game where you can take that one guy that my one friend says is just the most broken guy in the universe, and continually threaten guys that are this heavily armored. I mean, that says something. The game actually was well assembled. I have problems with the damage system, and yeah, some of the factions have really weird, really weird design aspects to them. I'm not a fan of the Japanese nukes. I'm really not. I don't mind the Africans because they came out pretty cool for what they were. I really am a huge fan of just the basic CCC, United States Boys, all the anarchists. I have to play the anarchist. I myself am not a corporate style guy. I'm not like an anarchist either, but I guess if in a world where the extreme takes over, I would become the resistance, I guess. So I play both factions. This game may come back. Ulysses Games, which is a European game company, bought the rights. Their American division has the production schedule, supposedly, for this game. But we haven't seen anything since 2018. It's been a while. And I've been poking around looking for news. MERCS, today is a day I'm going to pass my my MERCS second edition book that I had in my hands. All the other stuff that I fought against that my one buddy owns is going back to him today. So games of MERCS are coming, and I like that. I like playing games, and I like playing dead games. This is like I said, this is the youngest dead game I have, since it was born in 2009 officially, and officially came out in 2010. But I know that it was the winter of 2009 when I first saw this book, the miniature for the heavy guy, and I saw it in blister. And everybody paints this sucker yellow for some reason. He's going to be gray. And of course, the guy that I showed you earlier, Mr. I'm high on drugs and I love punching things. Yeah. How can you not love a guy who's literally, his miniature is going to kick you in the face? That's just freaking cool. These are war games involving tactics and alleyway fights, Kicking someone in the face is not a bad thing. So, this is MERCS. It is the newest dead game that I know of. Okay, technically I guess Relic Knights is about the same age and is just as dead, but that's for a different reason. And I have MERCS. I don't have Relic Knights for a reason. But anyway, yeah. My opinion is if you already own this game, find some friends and play it. It's easy to play. If you don't already own this game and you think you like it, have fun, because this game is going to require you get some privateer press style bases or Malifaux style bases, which probably would look cooler. And you're gonna have to proxy in some minis. You're gonna have to fake some stuff out, man, because this game has gotten rare. Everything's either going for collector's prices, or they are just really hard to find. I cannot find individual plastics for half the factions. Some of the metals are still out there, but they're like not conducive. Like I'll find like adapter packs for the FCC metals all day, but I can't find even 4 different metal guys, for the FCC now. And so it's one of those things where if you want to play it mixed plastic and metal, you can. It's probably the smarter move right now. But if you can find this book, you're going to be proxying out miniatures, get some those 30mm round bases, be prepared to fake some stuff out. This was a good game. I will miss these guys. Honestly, I will.